I love these stamps, and I just love the creativity, they spark within us. I must admit, when Nikki first brought the concept out a while back now, and she was explaining about deconstructing this, I thought, really? But then when I actually looked at the stamps I used and how the shapes were done and everything like that, the concept is absolutely genius, and I take my hat off to Nikki for that. Now, when I get my set home, normally what I do is I stamp out lots of the shapes that we've got on here. I'll cut them out and then I play around. I go for things that I make first, or stamp first, should I say, that I love. And the one thing I love is sea themed. I don't know why, but I do. So when I got mine home, I just grab a few of them. So for example, when I looked, the first thing I actually saw, I'm just going to give you an idea, was if I put that there. Now remember, this is a sea themed because I went for the thing that, I can see first. So I'm going to put a mask there. And I'm going to go and put from there. And obviously this shape could be anything. It makes a toadstool, it could make a petal, it could make a leaf, make a wonderful frame if you put four of them together. So when I did that, I saw that. And then there's this really cool stamp here. So let's put it so it goes that way around. And I take my masks away. I saw a clam. I saw a clamshell with the lovely pearls in there. So if I just suddenly use one of these stamps and make it look as if there's some underwater bubbles, it brings it to life just a little bit more. So that was the first thing I saw, was the actual clamshell. And I thought, brilliant. And then I just went on from there. Right, I've grabbed the stamps, and this was after playing around. This was suddenly, it came to me. And obviously it's still underwater themed. So the shapes I'm going to use, just so you can see, is I'm going to use that one. And it was suddenly with those shapes, I saw something happen. Right, so let's see if I stamp along, see if you can guess what I've suddenly turned it into. Right, can you see? I saw a seahorse. And just from the show, I love the fact that he looks like he's been eating really, really, really well. And that's what I saw. Now, there's just one thing missing. And this took me ages to work out what was missing. And it was just by doing that, I suddenly realised it came to life just that little bit more. So I saw my seahorse. So just by that stamping and then colouring him up and cutting him out, suddenly I think he takes on a really cool, different sort of vibe. I mean, I've coloured mine up with my koi pens, and I've added a little bit of a shimmer and sparkle. Suddenly I thought he takes on a beautiful life of his own, and I think he just looks cool and cool. Oh, I just think he looks cool and funky. Sorry, I'm a little bit excited about my seahorse. So what I did was, let's put him to one side. I created myself a background. Now, I've gone ahead and done the background so you didn't have to see me faffing heat guns and everything like that. And I've created my seascape, and I've used, it was that stamp down the bottom here to create my base. And then the stamp you saw me make for the jellyfish, I've used and put some leaves on. And then I've just gone over. So suddenly this is my underwater theme. So now if I put my seahorse on top, he doesn't look so out of place. What I also did was I went ahead and I stamped and coloured some of the other images there, as you can see. All right, I've done quite a few. And it was then looking, as I said, it was then looking at things again that made me see, different sea-themed things. So, for example, this stamp here, which looks like a leaf, suddenly when I saw it that way round and coloured up, to me, it looked like a shell that you would see at the bottom of the ocean. And the same for the smaller ones. I thought they looked like shells. So what I thought was, our sea creature, we could have a nice shell there. I can put a few leaves there to add a bit of seaweed. I've got some smaller shells there. I can add these here, and suddenly they become seaweed. And I've got one more that I can put at the back there. Oh no, I'm going to put him in the front. So now my beautiful seahorse is sitting in his own sea theme. Now for my next sea creature, I was inspired by the release of stamps by Art by Marlene when she did the underwater theme. And I loved, well, I'm not going to say what it is, but let's see if you can guess what it is. So I'm going to use my next sea creature. Okay, you're probably going to have to go with me on this one. This, when I suddenly saw it, looked like, to me, a pufferfish. And by adding those details, and then I got my black micron pens out and a white jelly pen, and I added a little bit more detail. And suddenly, when you add a bit of colour, he changes, or she changes, it has its own life of its own. So if I bring in back in my previous background that I used for the seahorse, it now works absolutely beautifully for my puffer fish too. And all I need to do is think of a sentiment that I would like to add. So we've got our puffer fish sitting beautifully on our lovely stamped background. Right, I'm going to go away and I'm going to colour up the background here. Perfect for my puffer fish to sit on. Right, background all done. And I just thought for an added little bit of extra, using the stencil that's on the show and the wonderful pearl medium from Amsterdam, which has got like these little glass beads encapsulated in, I thought that just finished off the look. So my puffer fish is now going to sit there, and he's got the bubble around him as a little bit of a highlight. So let's just quickly take these backing bits off and we'll stick him in place. Now, I haven't thought of a sentiment yet. I have to live with my cards for a little while and then see what sort of thing, jumps out at me. Underworld. So we've got the puffer fish. We've obviously got the wonderful seahorse. And then I thought I'd share with you, this is like my starting point, where I thought of my initial ideas and I stamped them all up so I could see, what I liked. And as I was stamping, different ideas came to me. And that's where these two came from. But then I took this and I took it another step further. And I've actually made it into a journaling page in my sketchbook. So I've taken all the elements. I've got my jellyfish. I've got some extra fish. I've got my clam, but I forgot to put the pearl in there. I've used bits to actually create rocks at the bottom here and my greenery. And I've used the stencil with some white acrylic paint, the circle stencil, to just add a little bit of depth to it. So the stamps don't have to be just for cards. They're superb in your art journals as well. Well, I hope that gives you an idea of, my approach to these genius stamp sets. I think they're brilliant. And, start off with the things that, stand out to you first, whether it's flowers, whether it's fish like me, or whatever. Just just stamp and see where your creativity takes you.